Alright, welcome back team. It's 2023, it's a new year, we've got the same old carpet, we've got some new shoes, and I'm going to do a shoe rotation video similar to the one that I made last year. Last year's one was really fun to make. So in today's video I just want to discuss basically how I've selected each shoe and the role it plays in my running rotation. And I think it's really important when we're actually selecting our shoe rotation and considering the different elements and benefits that each individual shoe provides and how we can rotate them to keep our body healthier, and how the shoes can be selected to basically promote best bang for your buck, really. Because running is not it's not a cheap hobby. My wife always kind of freaks out a little bit when I'm talking about buying a new shoe, and so I think we need to be kind of smart in our selection, make sure we pick the right shoe that's going to suit us. And so hopefully this video will help you in that regard, and let's get into it. So in last year's shoe rotation video I was talking about my wish list, and two of those shoes are right here. This is the Ultra Vanish carbon shoe, and this is the Ultra Vanish Tempo. So they're basically brother and sister, let's call it. They are Ultra's super shoes, so to speak. So they use the Ultra Ego Pro midsole. So they're both a 33mm stack height. They're Ultra's most performance-based midsole. The first pair I got was the Tempos. I thought I would give the midsole a try. They were the cheaper in terms of cost of the two shoes, so I thought I'd start with the Tempo, give them a try, see how they feel, because I'm more accustomed to a lower stack height, so I thought let's give this higher stack height a go. At first it was a little bit of sort of like a breaking in period, being familiar with more Vibram shoes, more minimalist shoes, so I had to get used to that higher stack height. But after a couple months I can say confidently that these shoes are freaking awesome. The more I've used them, the more I've gotten familiar with their slimmer fit, and just overall a very fast shoe, very responsive. So these are basically the training shoe, and then these here, the carbon, are the racing shoe. Now it's still early days, I've only taken these for a couple runs and only on the treadmill so far, so they're still basically brand new. One thing I was pleasantly surprised with was that they felt quite similar to the Tempos in a good way. They weren't, the carbon plate in the shoe didn't seem to affect my running stride. That was one thing I was a little bit hesitant about purchasing these shoes, because they were quite expensive, was that I was hesitant that the carbon plate would affect my foot health. I find that because I have a past of running in Vibram shoes and I'm flat-footed, that I'm quite specific with which shoes I need to suit my feet, and any shoe that has too much extra added support and added technology generally racks up my foot in a negative way. I usually get some form of negative symptoms, but pleasantly surprised so far. These shoes have been amazing. Haven't raced in them yet, so I'm saving them for my next big race, whatever that may be, and I'll really just use them just to let the legs spin. So the way these shoes are added into my rotation, the Ultra Vanish Tempo, they basically either for treadmill interval sessions, okay, basically just so I can get the legs turning over at a fast rate without damaging my body too much. So because the midsole is so responsive and so effective, I can get this fast turnover of my legs, so my knees and my hamstrings, my quads, the connective tissue and the muscles are familiar with that fast cadence and turnover with less damage, so I can stay safer and get back into faster sessions quicker by using these shoes. So they're brilliant in that regard. So I would do interval sessions, or if I'm doing a tempo run on the road, then that's my go-to shoe there. And like I said, the carbon is saved for race day. So next up are the Olympus 5. These also have quite a high stack height. I think they're about 30mm, and they use the Ultra Max midsole, which is supposed to be Ultra's sort of softest midsole foam. It's really forgiving and really good Vibram grip on the bottom of the shoe. These are all almost become my new hybrid shoe. So generally, if I'm going for just any sort of easy, longer runs that involve either trails, or there might be a mixture of trail and road, these are my go-to shoe because they have a nice soft midsole. They're okay if I'm running on the road or the pavement, and then because they've got such a good grip, then they can really tackle any trail and I can just be confident in them. My legs stay fresh during these runs. So I think if you're a trail runner looking for a shoe like this Olympus 5 or something else that has nice cushioning, that's just nice and forgiving, and you can just get those easy runs or longer runs, a shoe like that is great because we're not accumulating too much fatigue in the legs and still getting in a good amount of work. And so next up we've got the Lone Peak 7s by Ultra. So this is another trail shoe. These shoes I have been using a lot since I purchased them back in February in my while I was on my honeymoon. Actually, I bought these shoes and I did a review on these shoes. I've got footage of them mountain up the Ben Lomond track down in Queenstown that I ran up in them for the first run, and they're a great shoe. These were basically my everyday shoe for a while when I first purchased them. Just absolutely loved them, loved the fit of them. And the way these fit into my rotation at the moment is if I'm doing a more faster tempo-based trail run. So I've got a local park that I run at that has flat grass areas and then a lot of hills that I'll climb as well. And so basically, because these are lower stack and less weight compared to the Olympus, they are more suited for more technical terrain. So they almost kind of feel like you're running in a Vibram in a way, but you've got a bit of that cushioning and feedback. So that's where the Lone Peak currently sit in my rotation. Next up is the Hoka recovery slides. I bought these recovery slides. I actually tried them. I tried them on in a shop, and I was blown away by the cushioning. When you place your heel in the cushioning here and take your first step, they just kind of squish into the ground. And so basically they've been designed, it's basically in the title, recovery slide. They're basically used to wear when you're recovering between hard workouts or after a race. And they have a couple pros and cons to them. So the pros, I would say, is the midsole just 100% lives up to its hype. It's so forgiving, and there's been times where I've had extremely sore calves, Achilles tendons, sore feet, and I'm doing the old man shuffle when you're trying to stand up and you're trying to go for a walk and you can barely move your feet because your calf muscles are so sore. But you chuck these on and you're away, you're flying. So they're really great for offsetting load on the calf muscles. Basically the two main cons that I found of this shoe is they're just really restrictive through the midfoot here. Basically my pinky toe just gets smashed into this area here on the slides. So I actually start getting a bit of pain and discomfort in my feet if I wear them too long. So that's a bit of a downside. I've actually considered possibly just cutting a chunk out of this upper here to let the toe sort of hang off the side. I mean, I don't want to, I haven't brought myself to doing it yet, but it might be an option just to offset that restriction in the mid to forefoot area. The other problem is that sometimes you'll feel your toes sort of clawing into the front of the shoe because there's no support for the heel, and it feels as though if you're walking, especially on a hot day and the feet start sweating in here, it feels like the heel is going to slip out the back of them. So those are the two main cons of the shoe, but apart from that, they really do their job in recovering sore legs. They're just, yeah, they're brilliant. So I keep them in the rotation. I wear them when I need to, generally more so around the house nowadays. Sometimes I'll take them out if I'm, I don't know, popping to the shop quickly or something like that. But yeah, those are Hoka recovery slides. And so these are all of the shoes that I've purchased since last year's rotation video. But there are still some shoes from last year that are still going strong, that are still find their way in the rotation. So this is the Asics Gel Nimbus 24. They are still just basically a nice solid road running shoe for any workouts really. I still take them on the odd tempo run, I'll take them on the odd easy run. I've even started wearing them out if I'm running along limestone trails and things like that. They actually seem to be fine on the limestone. So they're basically just an all-around easy running shoe or tempo shoe. Like I mentioned in the previous video I made on the running shoe rotation, was the extra heel to toe drop that they have compared to Ultra and Vibram, which are all zero drop. So it places a bit more emphasis on the hip muscles compared to the calf muscles. So it's a great way to mix up the stimulus on the body and the load that the body has to absorb during runs, just due to the different technology of the shoes. So that's why they stay in the rotation. I love the midsole, the Flight Foam Blast Plus midsole, still going strong, has a lot of response to it. And I'm someone who likes to wear their shoes out till they're completely ragged and gone. Saves me a bit of money basically. As you can see, my Vibrams, V-Runs here, they got a big hole in them, but I still wear them regularly. Yeah, they're still working, so why not? So speaking of the Vibrams, still got the V-Trail 2.0. These things have been in my rotation for years. I've done well over 1,000 kilometers in them. They've still got quite a bit of traction left on them. They're starting to wear now in the forefoot a little bit, just from lots of like heavy downhill, sending it on the downhills. But yeah, these are just one of the most durable pairs of shoes I've ever worn. So they still make it into my weekly, just shorter trail runs. These basically have a similar role to the Lone Peak 7. Faster, quicker turnover, technical terrain. They're just really good. They're just swift, nimble shoes where I can be sure of my footing regardless of the terrain. So I feel a lot safer in them. I don't take them on as many long runs anymore now that I'm getting sort of more in love with the midsole technology, like the Max technology from Ultra. I used to be more of a purist, you know, where all I ran in was Vibrams, but getting more familiar with the foam now, really loving these midsole foams. So these are more shorter, faster workouts now with the Vibrams. The V-Run, they're still in the rotation. These are my basically gym shoes still. So any cross training, if I'm on the assault bike, if I'm pushing and pulling a sled, if I'm lifting some weights, if I'm on the rowing machine or the skier machine, anything like that, these shoes still go strong. Yeah, that's basically my current shoe rotation and how they all fit into the rotation. Couple honourable mentions. So these shoes here, the Escalante Racer, the Escalante 2.5. These are great shoes, amazingly durable. I've done well over 1,000 kilometers in the Escalante 2.5s as well, and they're really holding up well. There's no damage on the upper. Even the bottom of the shoe still has its grip. Really incredible. And the Racer, same thing. Haven't done as much distance on them, but they're still well intact. I haven't run in these pairs of shoes as of recent due to the fact that I've gotten so much work done in the Vanish tempos, and I've been doing a lot more trail running this year as well. So basically the Lone Peak 7 and the Olympus 5 have sort of taken those roles as well. But the shoes are still intact, so they will definitely be back in the rotation at some point. The Race is actually really good shoes to take around the running track, which I haven't been running at over the winter. It's been kind of wet and slippery, so might bust these out again over the summer, get some more speed workouts done with the races. So that'll do it for the shoe rotation video. I hope it's helped you, give you some insight into how to select a certain shoe for specific workouts, how they sort of affect the body in a different way from shoe to shoe. If you want me to do any shoe reviews, I haven't done any reviews on the Olympus, the Hoka recovery slides, or the carbons yet. So if you're wanting me to do any shoe review videos on those, comment down below, let me know. And yeah, hope this video's helped. I've got lots more videos on the way. Appreciate all the support. Welcome every new subscriber to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. And yeah, that'll do it for this one. See you in the next one. Cheers.